Kuzuzangpo, DHI Infra has formally handed over one of its projects known as Bhutan Education City to its newly formed Bhutan Education City Board. To talk about it and Bhutan Education City, we have the CEO of DHI Infra, Mr. Kinga Tshering. Kuzuzangpo sir, and welcome to the show. And sir, could you take us back to the initial stage of the project and how did it start?
The project started off with the executive order issued by the government. That was on 7th January 2011. So about 2 years ago, the project had been mandated by the government to DHI as the commercial and investment of the royal government to look for investors, to do whatever is necessary to develop the concept, to set in place the institutional structure, and then also to lay some of the legal foundations so that a project of this magnitude and size can function smoothly in the future. So that was the basis and pretext of how the government has mandated DHI to initiate the project. So subsequently, I think over the last 2 years, we have exactly done that. Of course, with the full support from the government, all the way from the cabinet to the various agencies, ministries, and then even I think the parliament, including both the upper and the lower houses, in terms of how the Education City Bill and the Act has been deliberated and enacted. So I think in short, what DHI has done is exactly carry out the mandate issued by the government in terms of laying all this groundwork and foundation, and that has been done now. And I think some of the few things are the legal framework. I think that was the most important thing. The Bhutan Education City Act of 2012 has been passed just within a span of 6 to 7 months from both the houses, and then eventually submitted to His Majesty the King for royal assent, and that has been granted also. So now there is a legal basis on which the Education City project can go forward. I think this is one of the milestone achievements as part of the project. Then of course the other things are in terms of having tie-up with some of the reputed institutions, and then also initiating some of the groundwork at the project site, the bridges, roads. So that tendering has already been done.
So before we go to that, could you share us the vision of establishing Bhutan Education City?
Yes, the vision for establishing Bhutan Education City as a sort of a small refresher is that the government has got a larger vision of ultimately not only promoting Bhutan as a GNH centered, with the development philosophy, but also to have Bhutan as a knowledge-based society. And I think for any society to be knowledge-based, the indicator, what they call the gross enrollment ratio, has to be over 50%. And currently, I think we are somewhere between 12 to 15%. So as you know that we have quite a long way to go, and the government vision was to establish Bhutan as an international education hub so that ultimately Bhutan can reach that gross enrollment ratio and have Bhutan as a knowledge-based society. And the other vision is also to attract some of the most reputed institutions from the region and also from around the world so that they can come to Bhutan, establish their branch campuses here, and raise the overall level of education not only in Bhutan but also allow opportunity for students from India and the region to come and study in Bhutan because of the fact that we have the ideal location, stable political environment, beautiful environment, and basically we have all the ground natural affiliation which will promote tourism and education. So that was the larger vision of the royal government.
So today, is Bhutan Education City a step closer to achieving its vision?
Oh, absolutely. I think part of the challenge that the project like these have is, first of all, the understanding of the concept. I think any project of this nature will take a lot of work in terms of how we conceptualize it and what are the feasibility for these projects, what are the legal backing for these projects, how these can be done. And I think all this have been laid out now, primarily through the enactment of the Education City Act. Number two is, with the formation of the Bhutan Education City Board, now the institutional responsibility, the functions, the power, what can be done, what cannot be done, and what are there to protect the the institutions who are coming into in Bhutan. So all these are very clearly laid out in the Education City Act, and I think going forth, henceforth, things are much more clearer. So we would say that while the actual groundbreaking ceremony and groundwork has not been done, but this forms a major portion of the groundwork actually that happens behind the scenes, because unless these legal framework and these things are very clear, then usually some of these big projects will run into potential problems in the future, because people don't understand the concept. People are sometimes alarmed of what would be the potential impact of these projects could be on the nation. So therefore, I think it was absolutely necessary that we took the last 2 years to have extensive deliberation, consultation with all kinds of stakeholders, be it with the government, be it with the local people, the GUP level, GEOG level, and then also with the public and private sector, and then ultimately, I think the highest legislative authority, which is the upper house and the lower house. So we feel that, that there has been a lot of groundwork that has gone into, and we have reached to this stage, and especially now the Bhutan Education City Board, which has been actually empowered through the Act. It is a statutory board. It is represented at the highest level by about 6 government secretaries, vice chancellor. So this is a very high powered board who is responsible enough and who has the wisdom and the capacity to actually carry forward this project. So we feel that now we are very, very confident that we are much more closer towards achieving that vision. It may take us 5 years, it may take us 10 years, it may take us 15 years, but now we are more confident and assured that we will be achieving that vision.
What are the some of the things that will be starting in the Bhutan Education City?
See, there are two things here, two components in the Bhutan Education City. As the name implies, of course, it may not be exactly a city, but that is the simplest way for at least people from outside to understand it. So what we are doing is we are setting up actually infrastructure, integrated infrastructure campus. So that is one part, which means the investment and the construction of the infrastructure. The other element is the soft element, which is the real, as they call it, the soul and the internal element of the education city. So you have the infrastructure and the external component, but you also have to have the colleges. You have to have the activities which are going on in the education city. So in these two elements, on the infrastructure part, we are building the road, bridges, and the water supply. As I shared with you, the tenders are floated. We are evaluating the bid, and most probably by within the next 1 month or so, we will be awarding the work, and this work will start on the infrastructure part. Then on the soft issues, that is where the tie-ups with the institutions come into play. So we have tie-up with, for example, MOU with Columbia University, then Raffles Institutions, and IIM Ahmedabad. So the exchange programs, then some of the short programs are already going on. So this way we feel that both the very vital elements for this education city is being taken up simultaneously. As we go forward, I think the activities will definitely grow in number, grow in frequency, and we also have to scale up in terms of the investment in infrastructure and then also get the investors to come in. So the activities have already actually started in parallel.
Specifically, what are the activities that are carried out by DHI Infra to promote Bhutan Education City?
Well, as far as promoting Bhutan Education City is concerned, we found out that, of course, we had initially formed the project advisory group, a group of international eminent people from Australia, Singapore, and then also from India to help us advise on strategic issues. And these expert eminent people also have a lot of tie-up with institutions because of their personalities. So that is one of the ways in which we managed to tie up Columbia, because Professor Jeffrey Sachs has been coming to Bhutan and he has a tie-up with Royal University. Similarly, through our project advisory group, we managed to get the tie-up with IIM Ahmedabad. So we can say that through the formation of the project advisory group, we managed to initiate this very, very important MOU with some of the most reputed institutions. So that is one activity that we managed to carry out. The other one in promotion, as you indicated, was that we have also attended quite a few of the regional seminars, especially in New Delhi, where there are so many interests in education area. A lot of the universities from actually Canada and US and England, they all come to India because India is such a huge market. But for now, India has a lot of restriction because of their legal issues. So therefore, these universities are not able to come to India. So when we go to India and showcase to them about the Bhutan Education City, what we are doing, what the vision is, and about the legal framework that we have, all of them are very excited actually. So in terms of marketing, what we realize is that because of the goodwill that Bhutan enjoys, because of the brand equity and brand power of GNH in the region, in the world, our effort is actually, we fortunately, we really didn't need to work hard. But at this point in time, we really didn't want to go out and market it all along, because till some of the infrastructures are coming up, till some of the institutions are settled and we carry on these exchange programs, we are trying to actually restrict and limit ourselves on how we go and market.
Okay, sir. So marketing for Bhutan Education City is not a challenge at all.
No.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, absolutely, yes. Because we already have, as far as the student exchanges are concerned, from Singapore we had close to 100 students who had come to Bhutan on exchange program. And even next month we will be having about 60 or 70 students coming here. And they have also sponsored about 4 or 5 students and teachers from Bhutan to go and visit Singapore. So this interest is huge actually. So we do not have problem.
So for a while, let's talk about the board members of Bhutan Education City Board. What are their roles and responsibilities according to the Bhutan Education City Act of 2012?
The responsibilities, the powers, the functions, everything is defined actually in the Act. Under various sections, it's very clear. So the primary responsibility of the Bhutan Education City Board is, on behalf of the government, they will be the single window clearance and single nodal agency to deal with the educational institutions, to deal with the concessionaire and the investor partners, and to deal with any activities that goes on in the Bhutan Education City site. So be it investors coming into Bhutan, be it infrastructure development which is taking place, be it approval of the master plan, structural plan, be it formulation of regulations which will come up in the education city, the board is the ultimate authority as empowered through the Act. And as you see in the representation of the board, as I shared with you earlier, we have very, very senior people. We have all the government secretaries representing some of the key ministries from the royal government. So this board actually is a very high-powered board represented at that level, who has got the ultimate authority and the function and the responsibility to make sure that the education city is established, managed properly, run properly, and ensure that it is a success in the region.
Is that the reason why you decided the board members were chosen that way? That secretaries were involved?
Yes, absolutely. I think one thing we need to realize is that while there are so many investment and projects that we can initiate in Bhutan, but embarking on something like this is very, very ambitious. I think this is a bold project. It is not a purely commercial project where we say investors can come and put in their money, make something happen and leave. This, we are talking about a project which is very long term, has got a lot of social objectives. It talks about, transforming the entire the economic impact because of this education city. So we are looking at something which is done in other countries very successfully, some countries not so successful. So therefore we need to ensure that this is a different kind, unique project that we are looking at with so much of opportunities, but at the same time there are a lot of risks involved. So therefore we had to make sure that this board is represented at the highest level, so there are all responsible people and they can manage and actually provide the right direction for the project.
So DHI Infra will also be hand-holding this Bhutan Education City for another 6 months?
Yes, I think...
what are the activities that will be carried out?
For DHI Infra, we have been involved on this project 2 years ago. So therefore, right from conceptualization to how the entire bidding process has been managed. So we are very much involved. And I think even though the governance responsibility is now directly handed over and passed on to the newly formed Bhutan Education City Board, one thing you need to remember is the board members and the representatives actually have been also there from day one. But only thing is they have been called the Empower Group. It's the same members, honorable secretaries, the minister, everybody had been there as part of the Empower Group who has been actually providing the direction and guidance to DHI Infra. So as far as we are concerned, actually, we have been working with the same officials, same people, same governance group all along. So therefore, it's nothing new. But now, as per the Act, after the board is formed, there should be a new secretariat office, which is not a corporate office like DHI, but it is a regulatory office, secretariat under the board. So therefore, the Act defines how the office should be formed. So which means it should be a new office separate from DHI Infra. But within the 6 months, we will be providing hand-holding in the sense that number one requirement is that a new chief executive officer for the secretariat should be recruited, again as per the Act. So we will be doing that as a hand-holding period. The other activity that we'll be carrying out is that the access road, the bridge and the water supply to the Education City site, tendering everything we have done. So we will be doing the rendering the project management consultancy for these infrastructure work. So we will still be there in trying to complete these very, very vital key infrastructure work for this Education City. The other activity that we will be completing is, again, in compliance with the Act, there are quite a few regulations that we have to draft now. For example, service rules, there are regulations on how the city should be developed, there are regulations on development control, how the master plan should be. So all this regulation also we will be heavily involved in the next 6 months, so it can be approved by the board in compliance with the Act. And then ultimately we have this 50 acres of authority designated area, which again as per the Act is now handed over to DHI Infra, so that we can develop institutions, universities and schools within that 50 acres in collaboration with our Royal University of Bhutan, Ministry of Education and so on. So therefore I think we have our hands full for the next 6 months or so.
So it was said in the launching of this Bhutan Education City Board that by next year some courses will start within the
yes.
Bhutan Education City.
Yes, as I mentioned to you earlier, we are starting some activities in parallel. And one thing is the collaboration between Royal University of Bhutan and the Earth Institute of Columbia University. So this collaboration has already started, and the Masters in Development Practice, it is a master's program in development, has all the elements, the curriculum has all the elements, economics, business, financial, agriculture. So this will be starting at CNR campus in Lobesa between Earth Institute Columbia and Royal University of Bhutan and DHI Infra Limited. So therefore this course is already being planned, and the advantages, because RUB already has existing colleges and campuses, they have their staff, faculty and ongoing students. So therefore it was much easier to start there. So this gives us the experience and the confidence in how to collaborate with reputed institutions and start the course. So by July 2013 next year, we will be launching that program under the collaboration with Royal University of Bhutan.
So apart from investment and bringing students from abroad, what are the other economic benefits that you see from Bhutan Education City?
I think the benefits, as one of our international advisors has succinctly indicated, I think this particular initiative will be truly transformational as far as Bhutan's economy is concerned. And the reason why is because I think because education is so vital to any nation, I mean, for whatever development process you may name it. But here we are also looking at attracting students from outside, from the region. India, huge market, middle income family, income level is rising. And not only that, there are so many other Buddhist countries in the region, including Thailand, including Japan and Korea, who are interested in actually sending their students to Bhutan. So therefore, what we are looking at is, because of this education city, all of a sudden if we can establish Bhutan as an international education hub, then just like Singapore, that has already sort of established itself as a sort of a education hub, then we have not only the students who are coming into Bhutan, but we have their parents who are coming into Bhutan. Together with that, it will be international students who will be paying their fees in dollars, who will be paying their fees in Indian rupees. All, I think, very, very important source of revenue for Bhutan. Not only that, but I think together with that, then the other byproduct will be the employment benefit that this particular project will be generating in Bhutan. Because of the education hub, there will be so many other related ancillary services for the Bhutan Education City. So immediately we are looking at the locality producing vegetables. Immediately we are looking at the locality having people who can provide these additional services. So I think overall the impact on Bhutan will be huge, and the biggest impact will be, I think, the impact on the education level, both within Bhutan and then also outside. And then also I think the number of people who could potentially now have opportunity to Bhutanese students who can study in the education city rather than having to go to India at this point in time, which will be a huge drain in terms of both their time, in terms of the effort, and also in terms of resources and money which we are sending outside. So I think the impact is multifold.
So it was also pointed out that within this Bhutan Education City, we are going to have a exemplary city.
Right. I think that is one of the most exciting things, because wherever I think you plan a city, urban area in Bhutan, we have been told that there are about close to 27 urban centers which are developing, where master plans are being developed by the government. But I think one of the challenges is how do you implement that? Yes, plans are good. It can be done on the as a green 100% requirement, whatever certification, energy efficient. But the reality is, I think all the urban centers, there are so many private landowners. So therefore, it's very difficult to, I think, impose these current regulations on an urban area where there are so many interest groups, so many divergent views among the private landholders. So therefore, I think that is one of the toughest challenges. Whereas in the Bhutan Education City, the beauty is that this is 1,000 acres which is owned by the government. So there are no private landowners here. Number two is the entire structural plan, the entire urban plan, the entire architectural, everything has to be presented by investors, everything has to be approved by the board. So therefore, we are starting from a clean slate. It's right from the scratch. So there are no existing structures which will come in the way, so that you have to make your expressway or compromise along the way. So I think this is one of the biggest opportunities we have. And then also it allows us, because we need to meet international standards and investors are coming in, we can demand the best out of them. They will bring in their skills, they will bring in the money, they will bring in all the expertise they have. So we can all of a sudden hope to put up something which is never seen anywhere actually in the modern urban development.
When Bhutan Education City was started, there were a lot of doubts and skepticism among public. Do you think those doubts and skepticisms are clear today?
Well, I would not say that the doubts are absolutely cleared. But what is now apparent is that because the project has gone through this entire process of public consultation and of getting expert advice and also deliberation at the legislative body in the parliament. So slowly I think what we managed to create awareness in the public. But at the same time, the process has allowed us to listen to all the feedback and advices. So therefore, the doubts are very much there, but now everybody is aware of the doubt. So which means now in the mitigation measure, whether it is environmental impact, whether it is social impact, or whether it is financial impact, so all these doubts are now raised upfront, and now whichever is involved, even within the component of the DPR, we can make sure that all doubts are being sort of addressed. So we cannot, I think, 100% remove all the doubts and remove all the negative impact. It will be there, but the thing is that we are aware of that. We will be putting in resources, we will be putting in effort in order to reduce those doubts, in order to reduce and mitigate those negative impacts. So I think this has been an extremely rewarding experience, the consultation and then I think dialogue which has taken place with all the stakeholders both inside and outside the country.
What are some of the supports that you received from the stakeholders?
For a project of this nature, I think when you say stakeholders, it's the public at large. So therefore, if I think, if I had the time and the opportunity, I would like to mention everyone. I think everybody has been so involved and so critical and instrumental in pushing this project forward. But I think just as an example, if we mention, number one is the even at the highest level, at the parliament level, they are the real stakeholders, because this is a national project. This has to be deliberated, the pros and the cons and what legal framework is required, whether this is needed or not. So I think that even at the highest level, at the parliament level, representing their own sort of interests. So I think that support was very, very crucial, and then we are very appreciative and grateful that both the houses of the parliament had deliberated it and then provided their guidance, collective wisdom, and finally sort of enacted the act. Then at the local level, we see that the villagers and the GUP, even at that level, I think without their support, it may not have been possible at all, because you are looking at engaging the entire locality, some of the vicinity area, their religious sites, very sensitive area. So I think these sentiments has to be respected, and without the support of the local people, I think it will be very difficult for us to push forward this kind of project. And I think most important of all, I think we would also like to acknowledge the support from our shareholder, which is Duke Holding and Investment. Because even though no groundwork has taken place, you cannot imagine the kind of effort and the amount of resources required to do all this. Because when you hold a public consultation meeting, you recruit an international consultant, you go and do marketing, we are talking about money. Huge expenditure has to be made, relatively. So therefore, I think these are some of the, just as a case in point I'm mentioning, with a very valuable support that we managed to get from DHI, from the local government level, and then at the parliament level. And then, of course, the agencies, ministries, I think support has been obtained at every level. But at the same time, we have been open to the criticism and to the doubts and to the negative impacts which may be there, so that we can address them as time comes.
So with that note, I'd like to thank you for your time and talking to us. And last but not the least, congratulations for successfully handing over the Bhutan Education City to its board. And with that note, we'd also like to thank our viewers for joining us. Do join us for another business file every Tuesday.